Today, we're looking back at some of the top controversial moments of the Summer Olympics. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go back. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gen X Unfiltered, the podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Hello. How are we all doing today?
Good, thanks.
Excellent.
I just want to point out that right before the filming of this podcast, we all just ate a giant dinner.
Yep.
Big mistake, I think. I'm full.
If you guys understood how badly the button of my pants is hanging on by a thread right now, I'm not going to lie, they might be unbuttoned by the halfway through this.
So we didn't have to grab a drink, but we took care of the grab a snack.
Yeah.
A snack and a little extra, yeah.
Yes. Okay, before we get into some of the top controversial moments, like the title suggests, I want to ask you guys a question. I like throwing you off right off the top.
Ah,
Let's
Jesus.
do it.
All right.
All right. I'm going to ask Steve first. It'll give Eric some time to think.
Thank Christ.
The first one.
I got time to think of an answer.
This is an easy one. Okay, you have to pick three of your favorite sports in the Summer Olympics that you like watching the most.
In the Summer Olympics?
3.
Okay. I always like watching the 100-meter dash. I mean, that's always a good one. I like watching, you know what? I watched the rugby sevens a couple years ago.
Yes.
And that I thought was really fun. I think it's still in the Olympics, but I think it was like a new one when they tried it.
Yes.
That was cool. And I don't know. Other ones, I don't know. There's nothing really speaks to me. I'll just say basketball.
Oh,
To be honest, I don't even really care. Actually, no, skateboarding would be cool.
Steve's just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I
think
zero
skateboarding
F's
would be cool for sure.
about the Olympics.
Steve's like, what are we talking about Bon Jovi again?
I feel like you're more of a Winter Olympic kind of guy.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, not. I just watch all the Olympics. I don't really have I can't wait
that's
to see this
fine.
sport.
I
watch I'll watch it whenever I'm home.
Okay, you're done.
Okay.
You're off the hot seat.
All right. See you guys next time.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Eric, same question.
I really like the 100-meter dash, this classic event.
Yeah.
The men's basketball. So copying Steve a little bit here. And then the swimming, actually, like the freestyle swimming.
Yes.
That's always a good one. Exciting when they get to, because they're always so neck and neck usually towards the end. It's like, who won, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In case anybody
I was
cares.
gonna say, what are yours?
Mine,
Oh, yeah,
I love the gymnastics. I don't know why, I just do. Gymnastics, I mean, obviously the 100-meter finale is always exciting.
Yeah.
But I like the swimming, the diving. I don't know. I'm like kind of an Olympic, like, I just like them all.
Well, I'm the same way. Like I always watch Olympics, but I kind of just watch whatever's on. Like I'm not I had to watch this or I won't watch that.
I'll even watch the speed walking.
That's always that weird.
Oh my God.
They like wiggle
Who's
their
actually
heads.
watching their feet to see, make sure
They are. People are.
Oh yeah.
that both feet are at least one foot's on the ground at
People
all
have
times.
been eliminated because of it.
Oh,
I know.
It's a whole crazy thing.
I think I could do that event. Maybe not win, but
I don't know.
I could probably do that without hurting myself.
I don't know.
It's hard on the hips.
It's probably a lot harder than it looks. Yeah.
Ah, crap. All right, never mind.
All right.
Dreams dashed.
Let's get into some of the controversial moments. Now, disclaimer, we know there's a million and one controversial moments. We know everybody has different ideas of what's controversial. We just kind of picked out some of the ones that we sort of remember or that were like big headlines.
Well, there's
yada.
Looking at your list, there's some kind of forget, but there's some huge things that have happened in the Olympics over the years. So it'd be fun to talk about them.
All right, so we're just going to start way back in 1980, which because, I don't remember the 1980 Olympics, obviously, but I do remember hearing about this and why it was such a big deal. But that's when it was in Moscow, Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when 65 countries led by the United States boycotted them.
That's right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Big boycott.
Do you know why they boycotted them?
Was it over steroids?
No, it was because they were protesting the December 1979 Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. More than 60 nations refused to compete in the Moscow-held games, led by the U.S. and President Jimmy Carter. The boycott included Canada, Israel, Japan, China, and West Germany, as well as most Islamic nations. Afghani athletes notably competed in the games. Some countries did not forbid athletes from competing as individuals under the Olympic flag, but American athletes attempting to compete faced losing their passports.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Carter wasn't
no jokes.
Pulling punches.
So the boycott resulted in just 80 countries competing in the Olympics, the fewest since 1956. I didn't watch the 1980 Olympics, believe it or not.
I mean,
know?
maybe you did. You wouldn't even know. We were.
Well, I mean, we were.
That's what I'm saying.
little.
We were just babies, literally.
Yeah,
It's true.
So
Fresh.
But I do know that, like, I've heard about it. I've seen, clips on the TV about it. It was a big deal. It was a huge deal.
Well, a lot of times the Olympics become
it's all political.
there are a lot of political stuff there. Yeah, the whole Olympic thing is weird. I don't know. Like, a lot of countries now don't want it anymore and stuff. Yeah.
Steve, don't worry. We'll get into what we think about the Olympics because I know you probably have some strong opinions about them, and I do too. So well, stay tuned for that inevitable argument or debate, we'll say.
I can't wait till you trigger Steve this time.
It's like the MTV versus Much Music. Just kidding. So that's sort of the biggest thing from 1980.
Yep.
And then 1984, because 1984 was the next Olympics, and they were held in Los Angeles, California, United States. And the Soviet Union and 14 of its allies boycotted those games.
A tit for tat game.
That's right, exactly.
Yes.
So
You boycott us, we boycott you.
It's all politics.
Politics.
It is.
So the Soviet Union and its allies said that it was because of the lack of security for their athletes as the official reason.
Oh boy.
But the decision was regarded as a response to the United States-led boycott.
Oh yeah, I mean this is at the height of the Cold War and some of that.
Yeah.
So any excuse to
But
so now you get into the 80s where Reagan's like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. And it's like,
exactly. So you're like right at the height of the Cold War, so there was definitely no love lost between nations.
Another thing, the Eastern Bloc organized its own event called the Friendship Games instead. The fact that Romania opted to compete despite Soviet demands led to a warm reception of the Romanian team by the United States. When the Romanian athletes entered during the opening ceremonies, they received a standing ovation from the spectators.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
good to know that.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You kind of forget all that. Like, it seems like a lifetime ago that, the Cold War and, evil empire and all this stuff. You forget how big that was. And, it was just this overarching sort of behind everything that was going on in the world at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
So there were a couple of sort of specific athletes that had stories about them.
Yeah.
Apparently the men's light heavyweighting boxing match between Kevin Barry and Evander Holyfield ended in a controversy when the referee of Yugoslavia disqualified a clearly dominant Holyfield.
You don't disqualify the real deal Holyfield.
I kind of forgot about that. You forget how old he is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boxing the 84 Olympics and he's still around
Yeah, he was boxing not in the recent past.
Yeah, not super long ago.
So
yeah,
I'm guessing
crazy.
Evander Holyfield's American, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was obviously probably a big deal because
he was the world champion, world heavyweight champion for a while.
He ended up getting bronze instead of the silver, which the other guy got.
This is the problem in judge sports.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. You hear it happens all the time in the Olympics.
Exactly. Anytime it's judged and there's potential impartial judges involved, you get these weird results.
One of the biggest controversies of the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, was the figure skating judging, and they had to end up changing the whole entire system.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember that. There's a whole big thing with the Canadian skating couple, right?
Yeah, but we'll get to that when the Winter Olympics come.
Oh, 2 more years.
Ooh. And another big story happened, which is kind of a feel-good story. And we all, like I said, 1984, I was not paying attention to no Olympics. I was learning how to color.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've only heard about this through, history and time. But, I mean, it's still, everybody knows this person's name, Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She just had health problems recently.
Yeah, I saw, yeah. But yeah, no,
so,
the Olympics are that's the thing. Becoming a gold medalist in the Olympics meant something back
She
in the
won a gold medal in the individual all-around competition, as well as 2 silver medals and 2 bronze medals. So her performance made her one of the most popular athletes in the United States. Her gold medal win was historic because she was the first American woman to win the all-round gold medal in Olympic gymnastics. So, yeah, she got the first medal for the U.S.
Yeah, well, she was on, I think she was on wasn't she on Wheaties?
She was on the box of Wheaties.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
she was on commercials. She had a cameo in one of my favorite Christmas movies, Scrooged.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, she was one of the dancer, the Scrooge dancers.
That's right,
where they were doing theatrical version of Scrooge.
That, yeah.
And with Mary Lou Retton, she has Tiny Tim, she does a backflip and she loses her loses the cane.
I forgot about that.
She was massively huge.
Oh yeah.
And it's still the case now. You can look and still now, like a Simone Biles or whatever. There's
If you're
a gold medal athlete can
well, especially if you're an American gold medal athlete, maybe other countries too, but I know American especially, if you're a gold, like you're a millionaire.
I've always heard someone said if you win a gold medal in the Olympics, you're pretty much guaranteed $1 million in some way, shape, or form through sponsorships or whatever. But the Americans take their training, like you look at their training, like they spend a lot of money in training and stuff like that. Like
no jokes.
Yeah, they they want to win.
I'm not gonna lie, my pants just ripped somewhere. I felt that.
Is that what that noise was?
Yeah,
we're looking back and forth. We're like, oh, did the mic just pop? What was that?
Yeah. No, that was my pants. It just ripped. I don't know where.
That button finally popped.
Well, if you're not watching the video right now,
go to YouTube and check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of, again, I'm sure much more happened during those Olympics, but those are kind of the top sort of moments. And Mary Lou Retton, like I said, we all heard the story. We've all seen the clip of her like doing her final like vault or whatever it was and getting the Olympic medal and yada yada.
She's like a household name. She still is.
Yeah,
like,
she's huge. So then we go on to the 1988 Seoul Olympics, which was very controversial for us in Canada.
This was the first Olympics I remember.
I was going to say the same thing. I remember as a kid, I had like a Seoul Olympics poster that I got from like school or something that hanging up on my wall.
Oh,
yeah.
So one of the biggest things going into Seoul is we actually had a really top contender for
we had the fastest man in the world at the time.
Ben Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson.
Mr. Big Ben, they called him.
Yeah, that's right. Big Ben, yeah.
So, I mean, Ben.
Everyone knows Ben. Well,
oh my God.
On September 24th, 1988, he wins the 100-meter finals at the Olympics, lowering his own world record to 9.79 seconds. He was the first Canadian sprinter since Percy Williams to win the 100 meters at the Olympics.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
It was so huge.
It was a huge moment because not only did he win gold,
the record,
beating his rival Carl Lewis, he got the world record at the same time, running faster than anybody ever had in
and that was
history of the world.
It was. How did he do it? It was
Wait.
impossible.
Yeah.
But wait,
how did he
get
do it?
this. Just wait.
All that hard work and determination.
It must have been a false start. Something happened.
Just wait. He actually said, he's like, I would have been even faster if I hadn't raised my hand in the air just before.
That's true. He was an idiot. Usain Bolt did the same thing though.
Like,
when he got his world record, he he paused.
That's right. I remember he did like that.
He just kind of looking back thing. And I was like, Usain, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have shaved an extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Fraction of a second.
That's where it all kind of ends. It gets tragic. It was tragic for Canada. Like, it was huge.
I remember my parents letting me stay up because it was in Seoul, Korea, right?
Yeah.
So I think the race was
12 hours ahead or something.
Yeah, I think the race was like midnight-ish. Around, it was late for a little guy like me at the time. A wee little Eric.
A little tot.
And I remember staying up to watch the race, and I was like, oh my God, it was like amazing. And then going to bed with like, oh, wonderful.
Hey, but wait.
we won the gold.
Wait, we haven't even gotten to what happened.
Yeah.
So
the rest.
The Olympic Doping Control Center later found that Johnson's urine sample contained stanozolol.
I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing.
A performance-enhancing drug.
And he was disqualified 3 days after the race. He later admitted having using steroids when he ran his 1987 world record, which caused the IAAF to rescind that record as well. Johnson and Coach Francis complained that they used performance-enhancing agents in order to remain on equal footing with the top athletes. Can you imagine using that as your defense?
Yeah.
We just wanted to be the same.
And I'm not saying that he's not right in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear lots of stories about doping and all this stuff in all sports.
Yeah.
So,
but you get caught.
Well, this is the
There's
thing.
actually a really good documentary about the whole 1988 Olympics.
Yeah.
Because they figured it was one of the most tainted Olympics
They
of all
just
time.
said it was the dirtiest race in history.
Yeah.
There was Johnson trained with a lot of trainers that were cheaters. Like Ben Johnson he knew what he was doing. Whatever. But the documentary's a little bit sad because Ben Johnson was, I don't know how to say it without sounding bad. He wasn't like the smartest guy. He trusted people.
He came from a very, very humble beginning.
Yes. Yeah. And he was promised money and he was promised this and promised that.
You have your trainers and doctors and stuff too saying, hey, no, this is cool.
Now, he's still responsible for what goes in his body.
It's true.
And again, I think he's the one that got with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he wasn't the only one eating those cookies.
No, exactly.
It's just, everyone's doing it.
Yeah. He just got caught.
You're the one that got caught.
Exactly.
It's not fair. It sucks, whatever. But It is what it is.
In that documentary, they talk about how that was, like you said, like the dirtiest race ever. And there's telltale signs if you look at like all the other sprinters of like signs of growth hormone. Like Carl Lewis, not saying he's guilty, but like, you know, he was wearing braces, which is a sign like, you know, when you're like a 28-year-old man, your jaw's not growing anymore, right? So why you have to wear braces to like, you know, get your teeth back in place again? Like weird things like that. And then like one of the scientists who like did like the lab testing, he said they have tests they could do today. They have like all those the samples.
Yeah,
they still exist.
Yeah.
He said we could go back and retest everyone who ran that race.
Yeah.
But I don't want to open that Pandora's box.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And from what I do remember from the documentary, I don't know, I watched it as well. I love documentaries. But another thing, like you said, Ben Johnson came from sort of humble, simple beginnings.
Yeah.
He was promised a lot of money. He was a great athlete.
Well, he was
in
still.
theory.
I mean, he was a good runner. You can't just doing steroids doesn't make you run. But 100 meters
he
in
was
the world
just
record.
surrounded by some really dirty people that were kind of just like, we want to use you to get the most money we can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ben Johnson's downfall was basically like in the race itself. When he ran clean, he was a really, really good starter.
Yeah.
Always came up to a fast start, couldn't maintain that speed for the course of the race, and he would lose in the last like 30 meters.
Yeah.
So, you know, cue the steroids, and suddenly, now I've got the strength to power through that whole race.
And that's exactly it.
And so he would get off to that fast start, and no one would catch him.
Yeah.
But like we said, in Canada, it was giant news story. Like I can picture the Toronto Sun having that the headline in the article.
It was huge.
Like it was massive.
Well, because generally, like the 100 meter, the men's 100 meter run is like the biggest sort of race in all of the Olympics.
I think it's like one of the last events.
It's always been sort of that, because it's always been whoever wins that is the fastest man in the world, and so it's always been like the big ticket event. So when him getting dinged like that, like it was huge news everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty, like, I don't 100% know. So if I'm wrong, correct me, or if we don't know, we'll just say. But I'm pretty sure, like, Ben Johnson, I don't know, like, I think he might have been born, like,
Jamaica,
yeah,
right?
Jamaica, So, I mean, he, like Eric said, had super humble beginnings, and this was kind of his. And like I said, he was kind of he was painted with a big black X when he came back to Canada. It was brutal. I remember the news stories.
to go from being the world, like a hero, just winning, but to go from being like the pinnacle of your sport to like 3 days later just being a disgrace.
Yeah.
And he was it was kind of sad. That documentary was kind of sad, actually.
Yeah, I remember being disappointed when I was go back to my little Eric story. Yeah. Waking up that next morning being like, wonderful, gold medal. And then I heard on the radio, like, Ben Johnson steroid scandal. I'm like, no.
Did you really make that noise?
I did. I fell to my knees. It was a whole big thing.
Ben.
No, Ben. But I remember that being my first big disappointment of my life.
Yeah.
Never believe
I've never fully recovered.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Like, well, didn't he do, like, before the whole, like, he got stripped, and because obviously there was talk about him before that because he was going to the Olympics. Didn't he have like endorsements for like Cheetah something?
No.
That was
after.
Yeah.
That was,
they actually
he had big endorsements during.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that was. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, like during his Olympic run there, he was endorsed by by Mazda, all sorts of like big companies. Yeah.
Did that stop once he was?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's why he did the.
He had a Ferrari, like.
Oh my God! Yeah. So he went from like a lot of money to like, sorry, it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oof. No, but he did have that. I don't know, but he goes into there was like some sort of Cheetah energy drink, and that was the whole thing. I did Cheetah.
Oh yes.
And then it's like, you did Cheetah, yes, and he pulls out the energy drink. I Cheetah, and it's like, oh God.
And this is after like the multiple disgrace. It's like, what are you doing, man?
I mean, like the guy, like
just like whatever. I guess you got to embrace it, but like,
they had him run against a horse. Remember that? In like some sort of like a novelty race. It was Ben Johnson versus a horse.
Who I want to know who these people.
Horse is on steroids.
I want to know these people he had working for him, like, or he. Ugh.
Well,
they were just trying to make money too.
Well, after the fact, it's like he's probably trying to do whatever he can.
Yeah. He tried to come back a couple times, and it never worked out.
It's just kind of sad. Again, like, you're responsible for having that stuff in your body, but it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I mean, but the problem he had to do to compete because everyone else is doing it, and that's
what he said, level playing field.
And that's so
doesn't necessarily make it.
Doesn't make it right.
I'm not saying it's right at all, but it's that was the whole like Jose Canseco argument too, right? Like everyone in baseball is on steroids. So
SNL had a really good skit on the Olympics. It was back in like the Phil Hartman days.
Yeah.
It was like the drugs were like legal was the fully drugged Olympics. It was like, do whatever you want, basically. Like, dope yourself up. And so they did like a reenactment of like the weightlifting. So the guys trying to lift like 5,000 pounds. Like,
and he ripped his arms.
He ripped his arms right off.
Oh my gosh.
But that was, I mean, Jose Canseco's big thing was like for baseball, just have a league of where everyone's on steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
just everyone's on it, just make it open and there it is.
Yeah.
Well, here's another quick little fun fact that I'm just reading now. So out of all of the runners in that final race, that 1988 100-meter final, only 2 out of the total of 8 actually remained clean throughout their whole entire careers, Calvin Smith and Robson Da Silva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Calvin Smith, like on the documentary, talking about it. He feels he was one of the last clean runners to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good for him.
Of his generation to
win. He probably knew he was never going to be able to compete with them. No. But he still was like, no, I'm going to do it clean.
It's like the sport's dirty little secret.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
No, props to him. I mean, it's because clearly, he did the right way, not the easy way.
Yeah. Okay, so there is one other thing that happened in the 1988 Olympics that we thought was kind of memorable, because I remember this being a big story too. But Greg Louganis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I forgot about Greg Louganis.
So Greg Louganis struck his head on the springboard during the preliminary rounds, leading to a concussion. He completed the preliminaries despite his injury. He then earned the highest simple score of the qualifying round for the next dive, and he earned the gold medal ultimately. So one of the controversial part of this was 6 months before the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Louganis was diagnosed with HIV and he had started therapy for it. After Louganis came out publicly as HIV positive in 1995, people in and out of the international diving community began to question his decision not to disclose his HIV status at the time of the head injury, given that he bled into the pool that others then dove into. He stated that during the ordeal, he was paralyzed with fear that he would infect another competitor or the doctor who treated him. Ultimately, nobody was infected because we all know you're not going to get HIV or AIDS.
Back in the 80s,
but they didn't know.
It's still really
people
new.
didn't know what it really was and stuff, so people were terrified of it. Yeah,
I think the controversy is the fact that he didn't say anything when he was openly bleeding. So it's not like the other divers who dove into the pool could potentially be infected, but the people treating him, if they weren't properly protected, they could.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the big controversy. I mean. And it was 1995 when he actually came out as HIV positive.
Well, no, but back in the 80s.
No, I don't blame him.
No, that's the thing. This stuff, it was totally different in the 80s. Like, it was not, it was not like.
Well, especially because.
It's not okay with a lot of people, sadly.
And especially because, later on, I don't know if he's ever actually said it, but it's one, Greg Louganis is gay. And being a gay male in the 80s, HIV. There's going to be terrible stigma against
it was AIDS and stuff. People didn't understand it really at all. It was
so he was keeping all that a secret, which it's sad. It's just sad.
It's sad. It's a terrible accident and then just a sad outcome after.
Well, that's the thing. I totally forgot that he actually won the gold though.
Yeah, he won.
So that was cool that he did that. I remember him hitting his head off the diving board. But I didn't remember he won gold.
And I think that in itself, having an injury, continue to compete and winning is a story. But then you throw in the whole HIV.
Yeah, well,
and the fact
that it came out a couple years later is weird too. Like, it wasn't
7 years later.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was after the incident. It was years later.
I think he was probably just you know what? I don't want to be ashamed anymore. I don't know, putting words into his mouth. But there was a reason why he publicly came out, right?
Yeah.
Knowing the backlash he was probably going to get.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he figured someone's going to be like, hey, man, what the hell?
And people did. They even had, I was reading further into the article, they even had people or doctors or scientists who were analyzing if that amount of blood got into a boat. But people, we all know you're not getting HIV or AIDS. No, it's HIV,
from
not AIDS.
Pool water.
You're not from pool water.
No, I know. But at that time, people were still a lot of ignorant people towards the whole thing.
But there still are ignorant people today about it too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But
that's just kind of sad. But yeah, so that was the 1988 Seoul Olympics.
A lot of stuff happened in that one. I remember obviously Ben Johnson, but
yeah. After 1988, we head to 1992, where the Olympics were held in Barcelona, Spain.
That's right. Yeah. I remember that.
This is when I really started probably watching the Olympics. And
then we're
I was
12, 13 years old, so it's old enough to sort of appreciate them.
Yeah.
And ironically, well, not ironically, but the Barcelona Olympics were relatively unproblematic, according to the internet.
After 88, I'm sure they're trying to dial back all of the drama they could.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't need all this heat.
There was the usual handful of athletes that were disqualified for doping. I mean, every Olympics Games has it. You just don't always hear about it because who cares?
It depends on...
Did Ben come back, Ben Johnson?
No, he did not. This was the first Summer Olympics unaffected by boycotts since 1972.
Whoa,
so
that's
all
good.
The nations were there that wanted to
Hey, we're all here to party.
Let's
get this thing going.
I really don't have a lot to share with you about the 1992 Olympics except for a fun little heartwarming Canadian story that we all remember. I remember because I
remember this. I think I know where you're going with this.
I was like into this. Like I even got up early in the morning to watch this race. Like it was a big deal. So we had a Canadian rower, right? She was the one where they
the
Silken Lawman.
Yeah.
Sculling, I think.
That's it. I'm trying to remember the name of it, yeah.
She was a Canadian rower on Team Canada, but training to get to the Olympics, she had a really horrific, let me just read so I make sure I get it right. She was the favorite to win the gold going in.
Yeah.
As she was training, her boat or her shell was involved in a collision with the boat of a German pair. And she got seriously injured to her leg. Like, it was so bad where she said she didn't know if she was going to keep her leg. Like, you could see the bone.
Oh,
like, it was crushed.
Yeah,
like,
I remember saying, like, there was a chance the leg was going to get lost.
Yeah, like, it was super bad.
I didn't realize it was that bad. Wow.
And this was only, let me just get the right, like, this happened in May of 1992. So only months before the Olympics happened.
Yeah. Fast recovery.
Yeah, so she had 5 operations and stayed in the hospital for 3 weeks, but she was back on the water training by late June.
Holy
shit.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
So she was clearly the big, at least on our Canadian TV network, she was the big story of the Olympics. Like, it was covering her arriving, and it was covering her, like, training, and it was, it was this big thing.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew what was going to happen.
No.
I mean... it had been like, what, 2 months? Not even? Holy
2 or 3. Yeah, like, that's crazy.
5 surgeries.
That's crazy. And then a month later, she's out of it.
She's back training and makes it into the Olympics. And go on, I'm sure you're going to talk about what happens to the results, right?
Yeah. So her efforts paid off, and she won a bronze medal, which is amazing considering
the fact that she was even there to compete is amazing. Then
She was subsequently named Canadian of the Year by the Canadian Club in recognition and was selected to carry the Canadian flag in the closing ceremonies.
That's right. They always do that. I like that at the end. They sort of pick an athlete or whoever to carry the flag. It's cool.
So I remember I was at the cottage when the Barcelona Olympics were on. And I remember I had some relatives who were loosely connected to the Olympics and, the water sports or whatever. So it was a very big deal for like a... Why are you laughing at me?
I don't know. But I had some relatives loosely connected to the water sports.
Okay, I bet, why do you have to make fun of me? Like, the boating and stuff is what I meant, okay?
Okay. No,
anyway,
it sounded funny.
I know, I said the wrong word, okay? But anyway, my point is it was a really big deal. So everybody around was, like, wanting to watch it because we had heard the story and blah, blah, blah. And it was on in the morning, like 6 a.m., I think, our time. And I remember we all watched it. Why are you all looking at me and laughing? I quit. I quit.
I don't know. Your family's like loosely connected to the water sports, golden showers, motorboating, whatever you want to call it.
Can we focus back? I'm trying to share the story of Silken Lawman.
Sorry.
Your family are playing water sports and watching the game or the race, and
clearly you were listening. Oh my god, I want to punch you both. Anywho, my question was, did you guys watch that race in real time?
I don't think I did.
No, because Steve doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I did.
Eric, did you watch it in real time?
I think I remember watching it with your family.
Swear to God.
The loosely connected people. No, for real. I remember watching that race.
It was a big deal.
It was a huge deal. Everyone's like, there's a lot of build up to the Silken Lawman race.
Yeah.
Can she do it? She's like the world champion.
Yeah.
Here, like, can she win at the Olympics? Right?
She did. She only got a bronze. I got up early for this shit.
But I remember her like.
I'm never getting her up again for the Olympics.
Okay,
Ben Johnson, now this.
These two are the wrong people to tell her.
Slightly older Eric, but still little. Is upset.
These guys are the wrong people to be doing sentimental stuff with. Anyway, we're moving on.
That's it for the Olympics?
Yes, I told you the 1992 Barcelona Spain Olympics were relatively unproblematic, shockingly.
No, that's good. That's really good.
I had to throw in the Silken Lawman because she's still today. Everybody knows her name.
Oh, yeah.
There's still more Olympics, though. When you said that's it for the Olympics, I thought you meant we're done.
I will be done. I'm going to quit in a second.
Oh, boy. What year is it now?
All right. We're headed to 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
The ATL.
Yes.
I remember these ones.
There was, when I was in school, there was like a kid in my class who originally was from the States, his family, and they were in the Atlanta area, and they were going back that summer for the Olympics, and I was so jealous.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Another loose association.
Oh, my God. Shut up.
The Olympics, it would be cool to go see them. I would never want to have the Olympics hosted.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our points later.
It would be
okay?
fun to go check out our.
Look, 1996 had a lot going on.
This was a big Olympics for Canada.
Good and bad. Well, there was really bad stuff that I have a feeling that you may have forgotten about, but when I tell you, you're going to remember.
I don't want to remember.
So one of the, and I forgot until I was reading this, and I was like, holy crap, I remember that.
I'm assuming I know.
So the games were marred by violence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
On July 27, 1996, when a pipe bomb was detonated at Centennial Olympic Park, which was built to serve as a public focal point for the festivities.
I remember this now.
Yeah.
Killing 2 and injuring 111. Years later, Eric Rudolph confessed to the bombing and a series of related terrorist attacks and was sentenced to life in prison.
Ugh.
I had totally forgotten about that.
That's right. Because they had that, and they made a documentary or a movie with the guy, Richard Jewell. Was that his name?
No, Eric Rudolph.
No. But remember the security guard that they were going after and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They were convinced it was him or some of that. And it was a whole bunch. But that was crazy. I forgot. That's sad. I didn't realize people actually died. That's too bad.
Yeah. 2 people and 111 injured.
Yeah,
wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And that was like the main kind of place where everybody went to.
It was sort of like the main square or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so sad. Like I said, I can't believe I even forgot about that until I read it. And I was like, I remember.
I remember that was a huge thing.
It was
when
huge.
it happened. Yeah.
It was crazy. Oof.
Yeah, like I think Clint Eastwood made a movie about the security guard that was like accused of it and then ended up.
And I'm also sorry, YouTube, because I used a whole lot of trigger words there that you're not going to like. Maybe we're buried too deep. They won't care.
Yeah.
That's always possible.
Okay, so that was obviously super tragic and horrific and, you know, a big story for the Olympics. But then there was 2 other really kind of heartwarming stories.
Yeah. A couple good ones. Okay.
So again, we have to go to the Canadian connection. Donovan Bailey.
Oh, yes.
DB.
Like I told you, I'm an Olympic whore. I watched all the Olympic sports. I can tell you exactly, if anybody cares, where I was when this race happened, because I remember it exactly. I can tell you what I was eating.
I'm guessing, was Diet Coke involved?
There it is. There it is. I was waiting for it. I was like, come on, Steve, bring it home.
Why are you guys on such whatever today?
It's the food we ate before.
I know. We should eat before we do podcasts from now on.
All right. So Bailey was officially selected to represent Canada after winning his 3rd consecutive national. Why are you laughing?
You're not going to tell us where you were to watch it?
I'm just
what you were eating.
So the people don't know. Just to make sure that if anybody who doesn't know who Donovan Bailey is, what he did. That's it.
Okay.
Then I'll say, okay.
All right.
It's called leading people in. I don't know what it's called.
Build up.
Suspense. Okay, so after winning his 3rd consecutive national title on July 27th, oh my gosh, it was like the day that the bombing thing happened. After a very disrupted start to the race, Bailey won the Olympic 100-meter title, setting a new world record of 9.84 seconds. Look at us Canadians go, even though Ben Johnson's didn't really count.
Ben Johnson ran faster, but that was tainted.
Yeah.
During the race, he hit a top speed of 43.6 kilometers. Holy crap, he could run that fast?
Dude's fast.
Yeah, he was
Holy shit.
Yeah.
27.1 miles per hour.
That's,
Whoa, which is the fastest top speed ever recorded by a human being at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Many Canadians felt Bailey's victory restored the image of Canadian athletes after the exposure of Ben Johnson.
It was a little, I think everyone was kind of like, when he first won, was like,
it's like a Canadian one.
We've seen this story before.
He never got busted for doping that race.
No. He was good. He was
clean.
His tests were clean.
But I remember that, you know, I think everyone's initial reaction was like, oh my God, we won the gold. This is amazing. And it's like, kind of like,
the pause, like,
like, when's that gonna
waiting for the shoe to fall.
Yeah.
But no, that was okay. So in case anybody cares, I remember me and my friend were babysitting that night. We used to babysit together because it was more fun. And
because you couldn't be trusted alone.
And it was like, I don't know what time, like 8 or 9 at night, because those races are always done in like prime time wherever they are.
Those ones they try and do like.
And I don't think Atlanta's that much time difference, if any.
I would
no.
So it was probably like 9 o'clock at night. And my friend's dad had dropped us off McDonald's to eat while we were babysitting. What? And yes, I had a Diet Coke. A McDonald's fountain Diet Coke.
Oh,
whoa, exotic.
And I was eating a Big Mac and French fries. And we watched the race.
That sounds all right.
That sounds like a pretty good night.
I'm sure I
thought and I got paid to be there and watch it.
What?
Even better,
yeah.
I definitely watched the race, but I don't.
Steve, you don't know what you did.
I was probably at home in my basement.
You don't know what you did like yesterday.
That's true. I don't even know how I got here.
I remember watching the race, and I thought Donovan Bailey was going to lose. Because if you remember the race, like
there was a bunch of starts.
He's the opposite. There's a bunch of false starts, and he's the opposite of Ben Johnson. He's a slow starter, but a fast finisher.
So he's like,
which makes sense why he had like the fastest like top speed of all time.
Yeah, because he got it like that.
Yeah, because halfway through the race, like he's behind. I'm like, he's not going to win, whatever. And then he boom, the last 30 meters, he kicks it into high gear and he wins.
And the thing is, when you say that, we're talking about 9 seconds of time.
Yeah.
So it's not even like a 1 minute race where you like, it's like 9 seconds you start slow and then
it's 100 meters.
Like,
it's
not
crazy.
Yeah.
And 43 kilometers an hour, like that's school zones here. That's how fast you drive through school zones.
You can get a ticket going 43 in a school zone. Like, it's 40.
That's a good commercial. It should be like, the cop pulls over Donovan Bailey. Too fast for the school zone, sir.
I did cheetah.
He didn't cheetah,
though. No, he didn't. But
so Donovan Bailey definitely restored our faith in athletes, and we were very proud of Donovan Bailey.
Yeah. No, he seemed like a really nice guy. Like, because obviously he came back, you see him on the news and like all over the place. Like, yeah, he seemed like he was.
And fun fact,
he's from Oakville.
Yeah, he lived in Oakville, and there's a park named after him.
That's right. I think it's actually been renamed now. But
why?
It's called Cheetah Park.
Did he do bad things?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think. Because I remember seeing it when I'm like, wait, they changed the name.
What, of that park. Just were like, it's been too many years. Time for something.
I guess so, yeah.
Probably.
No, but seriously, I remember seeing it as like, unless maybe there's two halves of it or something like that.
Or did somebody pay more money or something?
I don't know, but
yeah. That's
but he
sad.
definitely, but he's from Oakville, but definitely,
He had his own park.
Yeah.
Go Donovan.
Solid dude, yeah.
So then we have another big story, which again, I'm sure you guys all remember, but if I say the Magnificent Seven, do you know what I'm talking about? Eric looks genuinely confused.
Oh, basketball?
Yes, no,
the women's
the gymnasts, right?
Oh, gymnasts. Oh, 92 of the Dream Team.
Yeah, well, that didn't make the cut.
Oh, right, whatever.
Because that's a whole other issue that I have issue with.
Yeah.
So do we really want to get into that?
But you're talking like, what's her name with the, was it Carrie Strug?
Yeah, so it was the 1996 United States Olympic women's team that won the first ever gold medal for the United States in the women's team competition. So it was a big deal because of that. It was the first gold medal
ever?
For the team competition.
I'm surprised.
Because like you think about it, the Americans, like you always hear about the American gymnast teams, but like they weren't, like it was always like, China or Russia.
Soviet domination.
Yeah, for the gymnasts. Yeah. So the Americans were always striving so hard to get there. They were always in the mix, but they could never beat the counterparts. So them winning, like, it was a huge deal.
Them Russians.
So one of the things about this, if you guys remember, there were 7 members: Shannon Miller, Dominique Mochenou, Dominique Dawes, Carrie Strug, Amy Chow, and JC Phelps.
I remember Carrie Strug because I think you're going to talk about it. But
yeah. So the biggest thing is that it doesn't go into a lot of detail here, but it came down to literally it was like the vault.
Yeah.
And I think you vault twice. So she vaulted, hopefully I'm getting this right. She vaulted once and hurt herself, but then she had to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know she definitely did it hurt. I don't remember.
So she did it once. She did it once, hurt her ankle, had to get up and had to do it again. But the thing is that vault is what won them the gold.
Yeah.
They weren't like leading by a landslide before that. It was literally like whatever.
Like she had to nail it.
So we all remember the whole she nailed it and then she just like collapses.
She's hobbling.
She does like the whatever the pose is. I remember she kind of.
You have to like salute the judges or whatever it is.
Yeah, and you can see she kind of has her. And then she like just like collapses.
And one of
the coach like carried her off.
Yeah, so one of the big
with the crazy mustache.
So Bella Caroli, I know.
That's it, Bella. I was gonna say Bella Lugosi, but
Bella Lugosi.
Wrong one.
Bella.
I want to win the gold.
So Bella Caroli, when they did the gold medal ceremony, it was everywhere. He famously carried her out, and she won. But I mean, like, and we're talking like she was probably like 15. Like these girls are young.
That's the thing.
Oh yeah, gymnasts. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And to have that kind of mental, wow.
Well, that's
at 15
sacrifice. That's a winner.
Get out there.
Mindset.
Yeah.
I mean,
OTSS. Only the strong survive.
The strong survive.
I mean, I don't know.
No, but that's what you train for. Is like
This is your moment. This is the Olympics.
You either nail it or you're forgotten.
Yeah.
So I remember that was crazy.
So yeah, that's some of the big moments from the 1996 Olympics.
Now I'm picturing, remember Chris Kattan?
Okay, can we focus?
Being carried on Saturday Night Live.
As Carrie Struck.
You guys are never allowed to eat food before we do this.
Oh, why?
It just made me think of that.
Oh, that's too funny.
I like it better when you're hungry and weak. You're full of energy now. I don't like it.
You're getting us some behind the scenes of how our podcast works. We're stored in the closet in the basement until Kelly's ready to shoot a podcast.
we're like gremlins.
Feed us.
But can you guys blame me witnessing this? All they do is harass me.
Well, hopefully people are enjoying this.
Well, I'm kidding. Okay, let's move on. We have one more Olympics to talk about because we didn't, we're Gen Xers. We want to talk about
stay within that wheelhouse of like
relevant Olympics-ish, right? Like we're not going to talk about the 2010 or whatever Olympics,
Why?
Maybe later.
Okay.
Depending on how many people like this video.
Well, we got the Winter Olympics in 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. So 2000 Sydney, Australia. You remember that? Sydney, Australia?
Yes, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head what happened.
Okay. So again,
big Olympics. It was the Millennium.
Yeah. So that was Dota. That was like they had a fancy name for it because it was the Millennial, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Is that what the Robin Williams song is about?
Okay, can we just get through this?
Sure.
Or else people are going to tune out because they're annoyed.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay, so there wasn't a whole lot that happened. I mean, again, that I could find that happened. But one of the biggest things that was kind of interesting, but they never really explained the outcome or why. But during the women's gymnastics, the vault was set 5 centimeters too low. Multiple gymnasts vaulted on a horse set at 120 centimeters when it should have been 125. As a result, several gymnasts fell, including the favorite Svetlana. During the third rotation's warm-up, Alana Slater insisted that something was wrong, and eventually the vault was raised to the correct height. But I couldn't find anywhere, were they allowed to redo it? What the hell?
That's a big mistake.
Obviously, somebody screwed up, obviously.
Yeah. But they never really said, did they redo it? Do you think that would make
a huge difference?
They all
5
fell.
Centimeters?
And hurt themselves.
You're kind of used to always it being so, you would think you would recognize right away, feels weird.
Were they allowed to redo it? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It was kind of a weird thing, but it came up every time I Googled.
Yeah, that's crazy that would happen, but...
Well, that's on my bonkers meter. It's official. That's bonkers.
Okay, so this was a big controversy, but it's weird because in the Olympics it wasn't controversial. It was years later it was controversial. But Marion Jones.
Oh.
She won 3 gold medals and 2 bronze at the Olympics.
I don't know what's wrong. I'm sorry.
I think what's in Eric's pop?
I don't know. I got the giggles.
Why are you...
We have to pause here.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. What was that food?
It's not even that funny. I didn't say anything
Marion
funny.
Jones getting dinged for steroids.
Okay, we're all back and regrouped, hopefully.
Yep, I'm good.
We drank some water. We're good. Okay, now, back to the 2000 Sydney, Australia Olympics. Marion, what's her name? Jones. I was going to say Marion Brown, but I was like, what?
Not Marion Brown.
Okay, so she won 3 medals, 3 gold and 2 bronze. But in 2007, so 7 years later, she was stripped of her medals after admitting to steroid use. That was a big story because it gets worse.
There's a documentary about that as well.
It gets even worse.
She got into a lot of trouble.
So, because on October 5th, 2007, she admitted to lying to federal agents under oath about her steroid use prior to the 2000 Olympics and pleaded guilty. After her admission, Jones held a press conference on the same day where she publicly admitted to using the steroids before the Olympics and acknowledged that she had, in fact, lied when previously denied steroid use in statements to the press, to various sports agencies, and 2 grand juries. She was sentenced to 6 months in jail for a check fraud case as well as her use of performance-enhancing drugs.
I didn't really.
Check fraud?
Yeah, I remember
that at all.
I remember that. But 6 months. And then there was the whole documentary because her husband wasn't like doing doping.
I was going to say, I thought her husband was, because he was a runner too, wasn't he?
He was. No, he was a shot put guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, because I was going to say, like, did he go to jail too? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he did as well.
But I remember, she had a real like downfall there.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, I get it.
You're part of the Balco.
The Balco
there's all tied to that stuff,
I get it. Like, you don't want to be like, yeah, I suck, I did stuff. But, like, to adamantly lie and then, like...
lying on camera to, like, an interviewer or something.
But, like, under oath?
But under oath, like...
Girl.
Yeah, like, that's a whole other...
Girl.
Whole ball game.
At some point, you need to...
own up to it,
The gig is up.
Yeah,
okay,
this is it.
I got caught.
So she lost all of her credentials that she had ever gotten after that.
like that's it's really bad.
So I mean, I remember that being a big story too. But like I said, it was 7 years later. So she went 7 years of probably living the
living the good life of like a gold medalist.
She was everywhere. Like she was. Again, because not just one, like multiple gold medals and other like 5 medals she won there. Like
she looked commercials, like
all over the place. Yeah,
the classic the Wheaties box that everyone's on when you win gold.
Yeah, I think was she like with Nike as well or something?
Yeah,
I was gonna say I remember like.
She was at a lot of Nike commercials.
Her and what was it, Flojo?
Yep. Oh,
well,
we didn't go back far enough, but another big moment just off the top of my head that I'm thinking about was Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon.
That's back in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm saying we didn't go back that far, but that was a huge thing. And
for some of my parents remember that not too long. My mom was talking about watching that and being like, oh. She was like, Bruce Jenner, but obviously, but but I know like that was a huge thing when that to me it's like, how is that not the most important sport,
right? You do everything.
Like that is tough.
Exactly. You're just not a one sport athlete. You're doing 10 events.
Because you're doing 100 meter in that as well, don't you?
Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like that. To me, you think if you want to pick like who's the
best Olympian,
it seems like that would be the.
And I mean, that's just sort of a good story of like him winning, and then I guess if however you want to look at it, it turned controversial years and years later. But I mean, she is living her life, so good for her.
It's an interesting sort of story to follow, like where they ended up going and stuff like that. But to win 5 like that, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So anyway, so those are all the moments that we have time for in this podcast. I mean, we could talk forever, I'm sure.
We only talked to a couple of Olympics. It's
I mean, and there's so many other like obviously the information we were getting was more centric to like Canadian or American type athletes, just because whatever. But I'm sure like there was big stories in other countries.
For
sure.
I know, like you said, we only talked about the Summer Olympics since they're obviously starting up in a couple of weeks in Paris, right?
Okay, so here's my other question to you. I mean, we're going to get this. We promised you guys a debate, so let's get into the debate.
I
don't even know what your thoughts are on this. So maybe who knows?
I don't have any thoughts.
Do you agree with Steve or whatever? Anyway, so
was that a question?
Hold on.
I haven't said anything.
Okay, so what do you guys think of the Olympics? Do you think that they shouldn't happen, or they're just a good, fun thing to have happen? Eric, you go first.
Okay, I like the Olympics. I think they should happen, but I think they should figure out a way so it's not so like financially devastating to the country that hosts them.
Okay.
I think it's a big problem. Like these countries, they'll spend billions of dollars to host the Olympics, and then after the fact, they just have all these stadiums and housing that doesn't really do anything.
Okay, well, here's another thing though, is like this is where I'm torn kind of, because like you hear about all these countries that host the Olympics, but the like things they do to hide the not so nicest part of their country.
Well, you hear a lot of that too.
Like they may unalive stray animals that are floating around certain areas. They may chase out unhoused people. They, that's see, I don't like that.
My thought, excuse me.
That was so distinguished.
No, excuse me.
Excuse me.
My thought is like they should just have the Olympics in Greece every year.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Summer Olympics. That's where it all started. Like that should be the host nation of the Olympics.
I think they should have it 2 places. Have that and then pick somewhere for the Winter Olympics. Somewhere obviously where it's cold all the time and go somewhere far north. But I think just having 2 places, and I love it. Keep it going.
Yeah.
But I don't think having it like in different cities every 4 years. I think that's crazy.
No.
I think you're seeing a lot of countries turning their back on it.
Yeah. Because of the costs.
Well, the costs are insane, and you don't recoup it at all. Like, look, Montreal hosted in like '67.
Yeah.
In Montreal, they paid it off like 10 years ago. They finally paid it off.
Yeah.
And what
like almost 50 years later.
What do they have? They have like a falling apart baseball stadium.
Yeah.
The Olympic Village is now like they're like town condos or something like that. But like it wasn't worth it at all. And I think now it's insane what people are paying for it. I think it's better off just having it in 2 locations.
Yep.
You know what? And especially places like Greece, where they're having their economy was having lots of trouble and stuff like that. Probably be a huge boost for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the home of them, so just keep it there. Yep. And then find a place in the winter and just back and forth.
I'm not going to lie. I thought you were going to be more of like, no, we need to cancel the Olympics.
No. I love watching them. I watch them all the time. Like when they're on, I always watch them. Yeah. So I don't think we should cancel them, but I think they need to reevaluate how they. And then you hear all these stories too about like people on the take and like bribery and scandals.
That's what I mean. Like
all this stuff for how they get them.
Yeah, exactly.
And like even in France, they're having massive protests because they didn't want them there because it's such a disruption. It costs so much money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know why any country or any city would want to host them.
Yeah, I just think it's a great showcase of sports and ideally sportsmanship. And I think they should get rid of pro athletes out of the Olympics.
Oh, hell to the yeah.
I don't understand how a professional athlete at any level can be in the Olympics. Like,
no, because it's supposed to be like all about amateur athletes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's about athletes who probably more than likely are never going to get to a professional level.
Yeah.
And it's their time to shine, and you throw in the friggin' American Dream Team basketball team.
Well,
that was rude.
Even that's rude. Well, no, but look at our Canadian hockey team.
Well, the Canadian hockey team is rude.
Yeah. Hockey is a little different because
there are elite European players.
There's elite European, American, But basketball, there are more now countries that are getting involved. But even like soccer and stuff like that, like is more like obviously it's in the UK and stuff like that, but. You can't have professional athletes competing. It's crazy.
That was just about money. It's like, let's get more eyes in the Olympics. How do we do that? Bring in some names.
But it's not
pro
fair.
Athletes. It's not fair at all.
Like figure skaters, they can go professional and go back to amateur, and then like I don't even understand how that's even possible.
That makes no sense.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Well, it just depends. Like
I'll lose my pro card for the Olympics. Then I'll get back after.
Or they should, if you wanted to be, if you're a figure skater and you want to go back to the Olympics, okay, fine, but now you got to be a speed skater.
Yeah.
Or,
you give me a figure skater.
Michael Jordan, you want to come to the Olympics, you got to go
do
the javelin toss.
I think that if you're getting paid to do your sport, you're not an amateur.
No, I don't know. Yeah, they need to. There are. I mean, I don't know how what the line is to athlete or professional versus amateur.
If you're getting paid.
Yeah, but I mean, like, some like university kids get paid depending on stuff like that. So
yes, but I'm talking about like you're getting paid a salary, like that sport is your job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there needs to be some sort of delineation there, but like having like a guy that like in the NHL or the NBA or the Premier League and the football,
soccer, football,
can't come to the Olympics.
No.
And first of all, like, why would you? I can't believe any, like, especially like the basketball team or the NHL teams. I can't believe any teams would allow their players to go do that and risk injury.
If I'm an owner of like an NBA team, I'm not letting my superstar go to the Olympics. And get hurt.
That's a big. I know, like, as a following a hockey. I mean, a hockey fan that definitely is a sort of a hot button topic in the NHL a lot.
Yeah,
whether or not players should be allowed to go.
They shouldn't. I think it's crazy
because the owners and stuff, they're like, hey, we're paying this guy like $7 million, $10 million a season.
Yeah,
like he's not going over there to represent his country and get hurt and end his career on our
dime. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. I think it was where the Canadians.
Crosby had goal.
Yeah,
I mean that was like probably one of my favorite games I've ever watched.
It was a big moment.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
All three of us plus like a bunch of our friends. There's probably like 10 or 12 of us all went down to the bar at like 7 in, had breakfast at the bar.
Yeah,
with like a bar full of people.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was amazing.
It was tons of fun.
But I would have gone. Even if it wasn't...
Yeah, I would have too.
If it was a gold medal game, it doesn't matter if it was NHL players or not. I would have been there anyways.
Exactly.
And ironically, though, our NHL or our Olympic men's hockey team doesn't actually have a lot of our NHL players on it because a lot of the players are like European. Well, no, I guess we do have some. Never mind. I changed my mind.
Let's rewind that. That didn't...
Okay, I rewound it after I realized what I said. No, leave it in. It's fine. It's just how my brain works.
I'm not cutting that out.
But I was just thinking because like there's a lot of European hockey players, right? Like good European hockey players that would play for their country in the Olympics.
And they do.
So that's what I mean. So like our Canadian team like is probably not even the favorite.
Not all the time, no. I mean, because American, European, Russia, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, like they all all of them have a ton of good hockey players.
Exactly.
So you're basically watching like the best of every country.
Yeah, but it doesn't
like a giant all-star game.
It doesn't belong in the Olympics.
No, it totally defeats the purpose of amateur athletes.
No, totally. It's not. It's just not fair.
It's basically for the NHL. It's a way for them to like advertise their game.
Yeah,
they'd be like, hey, look, hockey's not huge worldwide, right?
Yeah.
So let's get a lot of like eyes on our game, so we get more people watching.
Think about it. Think about it. If you were say, I'm just going to pick a country. I have no idea if they're good or not. I'm just picking a country. Say you were like Romania. That's a country, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Romania. And your team made it to the 1992 Olympics for basketball. You're like, yeah. And you walk out in the court and have to play the American Dream Team. Do you think they have a chance in hell?
No.
It's going to be...
but, like, how defeating is that? It's like... and nobody's there to watch them. They're there to watch the American... that was a huge story. Like, it was huge.
Yeah. Oh, the Dream Team in the NBA? Yeah. Like,
it's just
crazy.
not fair. And it just isn't fair for, like, these athletes who just literally, like, spend so much money to train and 24/7 to get there when these, like, Dream Team people are just, like...
The only thing I guess for them is, like, maybe they see it as an honor to walk on the same court as, like,
which could
these
be the
superstars.
case.
Yeah. Maybe.
Sure, but I just mean, like, just from like a competitive level, it's just not fair.
No,
it makes zero sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get the pros out of the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, strictly just a way to get more eyeballs on the Olympics. Yeah, that's really what it is.
But, like, let's give the amateurs a chance to have their shining moment, because my favorite part of the Olympics, whether it's winter or summer, there's always a really underdog story that comes out.
Oh, there's always somebody, like, we were talking about like Eddie the Eagle doing the ski
and
jump.
I love those stories.
I remember there's the one, it was a couple years ago, maybe it was in Barcelona, or no, in Brazil.
Sydney?
I think it was Brazil, maybe. I can't remember. Where the guy, I don't think he'd ever swam before.
Yes.
Remember that? And it took him forever to swim.
He was training in the river, I think.
Yeah, like a bathtub and stuff like that. Like, it was crazy. And, like, he swam, and it took him forever. But I don't remember which. I think it was Brazil, but I don't remember.
And he was really struggling to finish. They thought they would have to jump in and help him out. But he finished.
Yeah.
So and that's what counts. That's sportsmanship. That's a love for the sport. That's just, like, going out there and doing your best.
And you're just out there representing your country. And that's what it's supposed to be about. And that's what's important. That's what makes the Olympics the Olympics.
That's what I love. I love the, like, underdog stories that come out. There's always one of them that just pops up, like, it's like, for the winter ones, it was out one year with, like, our snowboarder guy. Like, that was kind of like he wasn't supposed to really win, was he? I mean, he got in trouble.
Ross Rebliati?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other story. He got in trouble, but whatever.
Yeah, well, but another different kind of doping incident.
A snowboarder smoking weed? Oh, my God.
Shocker. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, that was, like, a fun... Remember the winter... Like, I could talk about the Winter Olympics, but remember the Winter Olympics, that other guy who hosts the Amazing Race now? He won for the skeleton?
The skeleton or whatever,
And he came from nowhere and won it. Yeah. And he was huge.
Well, that was in Vancouver, and then he was walking down the street, and he chugged a beer with going down the street with his gear on and stuff.
I loved watching the Vancouver Olympics. It was very, like...
It's always when it's, again... talking about not having it and whatever, but when it's in your home country, it makes it that extra. It's different.
Yeah.
But I still think they should just have it in just 2 locations.
I stand by my first statement.
I do stand by it.
I know we're kind of going off the rails here, but I just thought of another controversy that happened. Controversy that happened a couple years ago, and I was reading about it, but we didn't go that far into it, like the Michael Phelps era.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember the other swimmer, that douchebag swimmer, Ryan Lochte?
Ryan Lochte, they broke into, like, a gas station or something.
But he lied about it and said he was, like, mugged and stuff.
Yeah, and they were, like, drunk in the city. And
do you remember that?
I remember there's the controversy.
But then it came out.
Did he, like, piss on the wall or something like that?
Yeah, but then it came out afterwards that because he said that they got robbed at the gas station.
That was the Brazil. Was that in?
Maybe no, because he wouldn't have been there in 90 something. It would have been the 2000s. I'm pretty sure.
Brazil was, like, recently, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking Barcelona. Yeah, you're right.
No, Brazil.
It was only like a couple Olympics ago, but that was the thing. So they all went out. They got drunk. They were, like, causing vandalism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they made up this whole story that they got mugged. But then there was surveillance. Like, I don't even know why they lied. And then he came out.
They're just trying to cover their tracks, I'm sure, or whatever. But it was...
yeah, I don't know.
He came out and, like, just admitted that he lied. Like, how embarrassing.
No, I know. He had, like, a reality show and stuff like that.
Yeah, he seemed like a douche.
Yeah, he seemed like a big D-bag, that guy.
I'm pretty sure he had frosted tips or something.
Oh, good.
He always...
I had frosted tips.
He was always in Michael Phelps' shadow, so...
He has swimming with Michael Phelps. It's like being back in the day.
Yeah.
Riding beside Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Although we know how that went too.
Wasn't there a Lance Armstrong doping incident too?
Oh yeah,
that was a huge.
I never made my list. What Olympics was that?
That was an Olympics.
No, that was the Tour de France.
Oh,
but I was just trying to get Lance Armstrong was always crushing the competition.
Well, maybe his karma got him. Oh, he got testicular cancer.
Well, he had.
Oh,
Jesus. But as far as I know, he's fine and healthy. And all's good. But I'm just saying.
-1, but yeah, he's doing okay.
Well, you only need one, don't you? I don't know.
I'm not a doctor.
I don't know. Okay, but anyway, we're going off the rails.
We are totally.
I can't wait for the Olympics.
Bring it home, Kelly. Bring it home.
I'm so excited. Who's excited for the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. All right, guys, comment below. Let us know what your favorite Summer Olympic sport is.
Yes.
We'd love to hear it because there's so many sports I forget about.
Oh, that's the thing. There's so many sports. Yeah. It's,
like long jump. That's weird. Ooh, they like flail.
I was like doing high jump as a kid.
Yeah. That was fun.
The Flosberry flop, whatever it is, where you jump over there, so they call it jump.
Yeah.
All right, comment below. Let us know what your favorite sport is. We got to hurry up because I feel like we're going to go off the rails again.
Yeah.
I was going to do the Back to the Future thing.
I was like, what is Eric doing? Oh my god, he's just like that. Anywho, guys, we thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. This was a little bit cuckoo, but we hope you enjoyed.
Make sure you check this one on YouTube so you can see what's happening. If you're listening to it on Spotify.
Watch our Back to the Future podcast to get the reference.
That's right.
And we will see you guys in the next one. Bye,
guys.
Bye. Don't forget, you guys are gold.
Ooh.
Nice closer.
You guys are golden.
It's the golden pony boy.
Kelly knows people in water sports.